Hello. Hello, hello. Let me make sure I got this music down a little bit here. Hello, hello, hello. This is Adrienne, Capricorntigress of Astrology, Look Inside, and I'm back again. We are back again this week. We've got Tara H of Grounded Energy 111 here with us today. And I'm so excited to have her. And I want to thank you, Tara, so much for being here with me. I'm going to tell them a little bit about you. I asked Tara some questions about herself and her business, which is Grounded Energy 111. And one of the things she had said was that she listened to the whispers to take a break when in the business whenever she needs a break. That's one of the things that she's proud of doing with her spiritual based business. And also she was a dancer. And during her dance career, she performed on stage with the Martha Graham Dance Company while she was in college. And she cross-collaborated with artists in the Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts. And her first ever job was with the Department of Justice at the United States Attorney's Office. And she's a clairvoyant. So this is going to be an interesting conversation with Tara today. When I asked her what made her choose the work that she does, she said people have always been drawn to share with her the most intimate things that they're going through. Even people who are on a social level, she didn't consider as friends. So she's going through a number of awakenings. In the beginning, she felt very alone, lost, and confused, and she never wanted others to feel that way. And so she tried to understand what they were going through. Her biggest advice is to find a space, to get comfortable with being in silence, and to hear your inner voice, not from your mind, but from your heart. So I am excited about to have her here. One of the things she wanted to talk about, or that she's promoting, is that she's co-authored a book. And she would love to promote that. The launch date is August 11th. So it just recently launched. And the book is called Divinity Speaks: Women Who Tune In and Trust Divine Inspiration. And all proceeds from the sale of the book go to Ilamu Girls. Tell me a little bit more about this book, Divinity Speaks, Tara.
Yeah, so this is an amazing co-authored book opportunity. I had been thinking about writing. I'd done a lot of my own content writing and writing for other coaching programs, and I wanted to do something that was for me and step out there again onto the stage. I've been hiding for many years behind my work, and wanted to share a little bit about my story. And Divinity Speaks is about every woman that has written in this book has shared a time in their life where they have listened to inspiration through the divine, either spirit or God, or, whatever track they're on, just that divine spirit within. And they've gone through their own journeys of like having this really low moment, or, dark night of the soul moment, or however you resonate with it, to then like waking up and realizing like, wow, I need to be doing what I was set here to do and what my purpose is. And we're all different women from different walks of life, different ages, from, early 20s to 50s and older. And we've had these corporate careers, and we've flipped and turned our lives into our own businesses that are spiritual practices. And it's just amazing to know that you're not the only one on this journey, and you're not the only one that this is happening to, and you're not going crazy when you're experiencing this.
It's amazing that you mentioned that you co-authored a book like that. I'm in a book called Spiritual Awakenings 365, which is similar, where there's a bunch of different women talking about spiritual moments in their lives. And so I know how inspirational a book like that can be when people are sharing their spiritual awakenings with others. And you said, is that available on Amazon? Can you let people know where?
Yeah, it's available for download on Amazon and hard copy. We hit international bestseller on launch day.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, it was a roller coaster of a ride. You know, I stepped into this project and I just enjoyed the journey of connecting with all these women and didn't know what to expect on launch day. We all just put the energy out there to just be like, whoever needs this will need it, and they'll be attracted to it. And it hit that. You can get it. We do have on, I can share the link with you, the links where everybody can like read through the author's pages and purchase in various countries. Where off the top of my head, where you can download it in the UK, Spain, Italy, France, Netherlands, Australia. And I think that's all off the top of my head, but yeah.
Congratulations. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
didn't just are co-author, you were in a best-selling book. So that's,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
also what the book is about, it talks so deeply, you know, for some reason, over the last few years, spiritual awakenings have been happening on a massive scale.
Yes.
And this entire podcast is in a way dedicated to those who have them, because we're all spiritual entrepreneurs in some way. And something spurred us to create our spiritual businesses. And it's amazing. There's so many various ways of holding space for a spiritual business. So that's one of the things I love to do. So tell me about Grounded Energy 111 and how you are able to share your spiritual awakening with the world.
So Grounded Energy 111 is a revamp of my original practice. When I started my practice, you know, I'm a Virgo sun sign, and I definitely get I get in my own way. And I'm like, this is my vision, this is my idea, and this is what we're going to do. And I'm going to check off all these boxes. And if I check off all these boxes, that means it's going to happen. And as we all know, that's not really how it happens. And I was about 5 years into it, and I was just getting burned out. And I said, okay, my gut instincts were to take a break. And the Virgo in me was like, we're not taking a break. We're just going to hustle through this. And I know better, but I'm going to do this anyway. And I didn't listen. I listened to inspiration. I listened to the whispers of my guides, and they were like, you need to take a break. You need to walk away, or you will not come back to this. And I started meditating, and I manifested this amazing job opportunity. You know, if I was going to go back into having a job, it had to check off all my boxes. That was something that I was like, all right, guides, if this is what we're doing, this is how I'd like to do this. And the perfect job landed in my lap, and it checked off all my boxes. And that's kind of where the business takes a transition into Grounded Energy 111. Is life shifts and changes. And I feel like this year there's been, especially this summer, there have been a lot of major shifts for many people, and timeline jumps. And when things like that happen, it's not comfortable when you make these massive changes. And I've been working on this for so many years for myself. I'm like, all right, let's just do this. Let's roll with it. Let's change. And I started writing this chapter, and my business started calling to me and said, you need to come back. And I kept asking questions, you know, based on what I had dealt with before and like the fears I was bringing forward. They were like, no, you need to write this chapter. That was the constant answer I kept getting. And I just kept connecting, and everything started to unfold. Like, I initially started the page because I was doing some Reiki sessions locally, connecting with one of my friends who runs a small nail massage spa, day spa. So I made the page just for people to connect, to make an appointment. And then it snowballed into me completely like revamping, offering a whole new program, writing a whole new program, just like realizing I had all the tools built up from the previous form of my business. It was manifesting all of the things I needed for now. And it was all in there. And it took me a matter of seconds to recreate it. And I was thinking like, whoa,
Wow.
and grounded energy is really about listening to your heart during changes and recognizing your shadow self.
Mm.
And that's where all of the coaching is based off of. Is as I started to rebuild it, women were reaching out to me left and right. And they're like, I feel like I'm going crazy. I want to change my job. I'm not connecting with my social network anymore. It just doesn't make sense to me. I've built this career for 10 to 15 years. And all of a sudden I just want to throw it away. What's
Mm.
wrong with me? And I'm like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you.
Mhm, mhm.
And I was like, yeah, this is needed right now. Just like you said, awakenings have been happening
Massive.
massively.
In fact, when they talk about the great resignation, I'm like, yeah, and half of them are spiritual entrepreneurs. They
Yep.
are.
Mhm.
They are. And it's crazy. Now, I've dug into this, and since you've already exposed, because I usually wait to the end to expose what people's signs are. And I know you're a Virgo, so we're going to work backwards. But we're going to be going into Saturn into Pisces soon. And we've dealt with Neptune in Pisces now for a while, which means Neptune has been home. And I think, wow, it's the ultimate in spirituality. It just is. And we also went through Jupiter that was in Pisces. And I think when it happened, there was like an explosion. It was like the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Like, so many spiritual entrepreneurs came out of the woodwork. And it's amazing because I also caution some people about this. Like as an astrologer, I caution people to, I've got a video out right now, like make sure you read the greats, which are the people who have been talking about astrology, building up the foundation of astrology, over the last 100 years, because what we've got over the last 5 years could be anything. I mean, with Wikipedia and people just putting in whatever they want, you can literally, if you just Google it, you can get anything. Please go find some Liz Green or Stephen Aurora or Linda Goodman. Just don't take it for face value, because one of the things I've noticed online is that as far as astrology is concerned, Eastern astrology is getting mixed with Western astrology, and they're not the same. The signs are not even the same. So when they're referring to a Capricorn, they're probably referring to an Aquarius or something like that. And it throws everything off. And I just wish people had a better handle on that reality so that they're reading the right information. And it's just part of the explosion. People are just excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I just want to explore it and know it and, dig into it. Now, when you had these women come to you, they were approaching you more as a coach? Were you coaching them, or?
Some of them were former clients that from previous coaching before the business was what it was. And one of them in particular, I remember coaching her. I was postpartum. And I remember her talking about her situation at the time. I thought I was tapping into what she was going through on an energetic level. And I was like, I'm not in the headspace to take this course, like this direction for myself, with my clients, or for my business. And I remember thinking that, and I remember saying to her, there's a lot more that's going on with you that you need to sit with and reflect on. And it's what I'm saying to you now is not going to make sense at all, but it will. And we continued our coaching relationship, and we've kept in touch. She is also a former friend and colleague too, but we have kept in touch. And she reached out to me in March, and she was like, I just want to tell you that what you said to me did not make sense at the time. And then all of a sudden I kept going along, trying to make things work, trying to make things happen, pushing things. And I finally just blew up and said to my partner, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. This is what we need to do. You're either with me or you're not in this thought process, And she was like, it was like the light bulbs came on for both of us, and everything did a 180, and everything cleared out, and all of that junk and everything that I think you were really trying to hint at made sense. And she's like, I still use all of your techniques that you coached me through, And one of the things is a vision board. I love vision boards.
Oh yeah.
I don't care how you do them. They're just amazing. They help you funnel in like and get clarity, because it gets very chaotic when we start these journeys. There's lots coming in, there's lots going out, and you can easily go off into the weeds.
Yeah.
I know I do.
Yeah.
And she was like, she lifts up her vision board and she's like, I still have this thing and I am still adding to it and taking away from it and growing and doing programs for myself. Like, she is exactly where she wanted to be 5 years ago today.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. When I just so you know, I've got a vision board and you can't see it behind me, but on my vision board is the exact sofa chase that I've got in my living room. And I must have put that on there, 2017 or something. And then one day I was just walking around my place and I got, that's it. I manifested that.
Yeah.
And that's funny. We don't even realize we're doing it. Crazy. Yeah, this is wonderful. And do you help people with the manifestation? Because I know that's huge right now.
I do. Yeah, manifestation and like really slowing down and not just the whole concept of like, if you manifest it, it will happen. I get real about it. I'm like, look, I know this is a hot topic right now, but I want to get into the nitty-gritty of it. And I always explain to my clients that it's not going to happen immediately. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not, you're going to meditate one time and everything's going to shift. It is a consistent, continual practice, and it's going to change and grow as you change and grow. And the more consistent you get with it, the more you get out of your mind and into your soul and listen to your heart. And it's not fun in the beginning. You can't sit still. Your brain goes 100 miles an hour. You start thinking about, the laundry list of things you need to do. And that was how I was. I started that practice for myself with the book, You Can Heal Your Life by Lois Hay.
Oh, yeah.
I hated being in my apartment when I was in my 20s. I wouldn't go home. I wouldn't stay home. I didn't want to be with my thoughts. I didn't want to be in quiet. I was constantly around noise and chaos and going, and there was an adrenaline rush to being a performing artist and getting up on stage and with, people top in their field, and connecting and partying and networking. And it was just constant go, 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 go. So when I had to go home, there was nothing in there. It was an empty apartment. I had no furniture. I barely had a bed. No food. I couldn't afford it. I was that broke, starving artist type. And it was her book that brought me to this practice. This is going back like 15 years ago.
This Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life.
Yeah.
Everyone, I love that. That's one of the best books ever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't even know how it found me.
I love it.
It just ended up in my life. And I was trying to figure out how to get comfortable sitting in my apartment, sitting with my thoughts, just learning how to like myself again. And I would go to the local bookstore and find a book that spoke to me. Nothing in particular, just whatever resonated with me. Sure enough, her book did. And that's how I manifested my first office job at the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Oh, that's amazing. I wondered how that tied in about the U.S. Office. That's funny.
Yep.
Oh, no, that's great. That's great. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And congratulations for what you're doing, because you're helping people. And please bear with me. This continually is sliding down backwards.
Okay.
I just put it, I don't want to show too much cleavage or anything, but it's just, it just keeps sliding back. And I'm thinking, what is going on today?
Right.
What is happening today? And first of all, can I just thank you first for letting me know that you're Virgo, because the upcoming new moon is in Virgo. And this is one of those days because we're right in the shadow of that new moon. But this is going to be a good new moon for you, which is why I think we were able to connect today, because I think this is your day to start anew and to share your message with the world and let people know who you are. And I just say, I think what you're doing is amazing. That's why people are coming to you, because they sense the light in you and they sense that you've gained this knowledge that they don't have. It's beautiful, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, especially when you mention Louise Hay, you can heal your life. I think we've all had a Louise Hay moment. It's
Yeah.
just the purest of thought, right? It's the purest of
Yeah.
thought. And it changes so many lives. It's just being at one with your intention and belief. It's all about the belief. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think the first time I got introduced to Louise Hay was back in the 1980s. And I would say 87, maybe 88. And I just remember pouring through her book like it was my lifeblood. I still have it today
Mm-hmm.
because that whole mindset was new for me. And I remember there was her and Marianne Williamson, and they were like a mind explosion. Just the way they were thinking, completely different than the way the world was thinking at that time. So what amazes me is that so many people are being exposed to their works today. It's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, just lovely.
Yeah.
So now your website is grounded energy111, is it .com?
.com, yes.
So when they if they go there, they could schedule with you to
Yeah. So if you go onto the website, my email's up there. I always welcome people that, if they feel that they connect with the material, but they have questions, always reach out to me. Like, my door is always open. It's not a, come to my website, purchase my products, and then I'll talk to you. Like, no, I truly believe in that one-on-one connection before any kind of sales pitch or anything. That was something, like, when I went into this business and started it, I really wanted to bring that holistic approach, because I never resonated with somebody who was like, well, first, before we chat, look at my services. This is what I do. I was always like, okay. Yeah. But you can kind of, I have it up there. I have the program up there. I truly, honestly recommend that if anybody wants to do the program, reach out to me first. Let's have a conversation about it to make sure it aligns, to make sure it resonates. If it doesn't, but you want to work together, we can work together in another fashion. Like, the door is open, the options are open. My email's up there. I have links to where you can purchase the book, Divinity Speaks, on my the media page. And anything you want to know about me, I'm pretty much putting it up there. My blog is, not one of these fancy blogs. I just get up early in the morning. I like to write, and it's pretty much rambling of my thoughts. But again, I even have the disclaimer that, like, if this resonates with you, take what resonates, leave the rest. And just, like, wander through the page.
Yeah, I think that's amazing too. And that was actually one of the hardest things for me, because I was one of those buy my stuff people. That was all I was, pretty much just buy my stuff. And I realized it is a more hands-on. We got to be a little bit more hands-on and use a more human approach when we're sharing our gifts.
Yeah.
Because not everyone knows what they want. And I've got a website that's confusing. So they get there and they're like, their eyes crossed, they don't know where to go. Like, so I don't want to say, go to my website, because they'll be like, what's going on here? Right. But yeah, I think a hands-on approach is good, because then you can find out what people want, how you can help them. Like you said, find out if you're resonating with them. I do believe in that our souls are attracted to other souls that either can help us on our path or can get us onto the right path or walk us through the path together, or because okay, I'll backtrack. The reason I asked about whether you're a coach is because there's so many people who need that person walking next to them in this journey. And it's a beautiful thing that you're doing, because some people would never go down the path or find the solutions if they didn't have someone holding their hand.
Yeah.
And I tell people that all the time. It saves so much energy if you've got someone who knows the path.
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
Is there any stories you like to share with any our listeners about anything that just on your mind that you would like to share about your clients or your experiences, or how you've managed to help other people to achieve the goals in life that they want to achieve?
Yes, I have tons of stories. As my closer friends get to know me, they're like, you're very quiet up front, but as soon as I get comfortable, I can tell many stories.
I'm a double Capricorn, so when I knew you were a Virgo, I'm like, okay, we're just gonna relax into this here.
Yeah. I mean, I have so many stories. I tell a lot of stories from the time when I lived in Philadelphia. That is home to me. Like, Philly's home. I wasn't born and raised there, but it's home.
I lived in Philly.
Yeah.
I lived in Germantown.
Yes. And I'm always, every time I say I'm from Philly or resonate with Philly, the person I'm talking to has lived in Philly.
I was born in New Jersey. I was born in Camden, New Jersey.
Yes.
And raised in Haddon Township. And then I moved into Germantown when I got old enough. But
yep. Yeah. So Philly is my home, and that's where all of my stories kind of take place. I could share tons of stories about the craziness that I did before I woke up. I mean, some of them I'm not even sure. I don't think I remember all of them. Like, if you were to find people who knew me back then, they could probably tell even more crazier stories. I mean, I was so disconnected from myself.
yeah.
But I was in love with the city. I was in love with the people. I was finally in an environment where I fit in with my art. My rising sign is an Aquarius. So I'm weird as heck. And I constantly hide it. And now I'm just coming out and going, I'm weird.
Yeah, see, you're owning up to it. I love it.
And I would just I'd take any opportunity that came along. It got a little hairy towards the end. But I mean, it was going off with a band member to Atlantic City. That was crazy. That was with John Legend's band.
Oh no.
And then
got a band story from Philly. Everybody.
Well, it's because it's the 4th of July. They bring a headliner in.
Hilarious. Oh my God.
And then it's being in Atlantic City, and you're seeing the dancers that you went to college with, dancing at the clubs there, because that's what you do to just kind of loop jobs together. Yeah. So life is crazy, and partying a little too hard, taking a zip car out of state that I probably shouldn't have taken out of state.
Oh no.
Being nervous on my flight to Sweden. It was maybe I won't sleep. And my roommate had Percocets. I do not recommend this at all. I am not somebody who's into these things. So I was I don't know. I'm afraid I'm not going to sleep. So I took one and I threw it in with all my vitamins. And I went through, international security and all of that stuff. And I'm what is wrong with me? Looking back now when I've got my life together, I'm I just want to wallop her upside the head and be
hilarious.
How did you not get arrested?
Right. How'd you manage to pull that off?
I'm sorry. You can probably hear my son. He hears me when I get loud. He's what are you doing? And he's my little Gemini, so he's got to be Mr. Social.
Cute.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah. And then, the security clearance with my job at the U.S. Attorney's Office definitely had me on edge, because I was transitioning my life, getting it together, reconnecting with myself and my soul. And, them asking me who I connected with. They want 10 years of history for their background check, because they do have an FBI agent that'll go through and
this Attorney General. So
yeah, so they that was interesting. I was calling friends from my childhood, just tell them we hung out
be nice
at the ice cream store. I don't know. I mean, I was 10, 12. It just tons of crazy stories. There is an interesting story to my background check, but I don't know if I want to.
Oh no! Was that about the Sweden or what?
Kind of. It's very different. I was, somebody I had dated. He was Persian, and it had only been a year since we hadn't been dating. And I was they were do you know anybody who's Iranian? Because this is the government. So they want to know this information. I'm oh. I was do I really want to put this? Can I lie about it? But there's tons of pictures on my Facebook page. Can I just go through and delete everything on my Facebook page? Can I delete my Facebook page?
Oh no.
And, I was overthinking it, overanalyzing it. I was yes. And then they were well, what did he do for a living? And I was oh God.
Oh.
He's his education was just in biochemical engineering. And he's a very intelligent man, and he lived in Sweden. He's a Swedish citizen. And I was like, I remember calling my mom and being like, I think I'm in trouble.
Oh no.
They didn't care, obviously, but you know how your mind is over analyzing it just because like it's US history, you know.
And
it's
there was a moment with America and Iranian, right? Or Iraqi. They were acting really strange. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh God. And I was just like, well, this is interesting. And then I was like, do I tell him that I had to put him down on this information sheet? No, I'm just gonna leave it that as is. I was like, this is ridiculous. You know, crazy stories where it's like, I'm just living life and connecting with people and enjoying different cultures and learning about different cultures. And then getting this job, I was like,
oh wow,
I need to live a calmer life.
I mean, it's funny because you don't realize until you get a job like that, what you're doing that's reflecting on your future. And yeah, it's a big change. I mean, working for the Attorney General, they're going to check everything.
Yeah. I was hired and the FBI agent was still going around checking all my references and information. And my supervisor was like, yeah, we had to call him and tell him he was done. You were hired.
Oh my gosh, they go deep. They really
do. Even if you're young.
You know, years ago, my daughter almost got a job. What was that? Was that CIA? Yeah, it was CIA. And I talked her out of it because she was really young and she had scored really high on this test. Well, we later found out she's a genius. So of course she scored high, but they wanted her, like they were actively pursuing her because she got like a 10 on this test and no one ever gets it. And I talked her out. They were going to give her, if she worked with them, they would pay for her college, but then she would be like an indentured servant. And I told her, I said, based on the deal they made, like she had to work a certain amount of years per year that they had her in college. And she ended up getting 3 masters. So I'm glad I talked her out of it. But had she worked with them, she would have been indentured to them like to the age of 45 or something. And I'm like, honey, that eliminates any chance at any other type of career. Like you'll be trapped in that. Do you really want to get trapped? And I mean, she's an entrepreneur now, so I'm glad she's got her freedom. But imagine, because she's still only 36, she would have had 9 more years at least. Yeah, with them. That's a big decision when you're working for the government.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's flattering. I think also Halliburton had came after her at the same time. And I'm like, no, okay, neither one. I think that's when he was vice president. I'm like, no, just stop it. All the military, all of that, just don't go into that sector. And I'm glad in a way that she listened to me because she's much more of a artistic type of personality. And so for you, I don't even know how your Virgo, because she's a Virgo, by the way. That's why it made me think of it. Virgo moon, Virgo sun, Virgo Mercury, Gemini rising. So there is something about Virgos. I think you guys got a little bit of fire in your belly. No one ever talks about that with Virgos. Virgos are always this, prim and pure, and no one ever expects or suspects with Virgo, but you guys do a lot. Virgos do a lot.
Yeah. And we can be fiery. I'm glad you point that out because we can be.
You are. I mean, they don't get enough credit for it. I find that Virgos have usually 2 personalities. I think about Michael Jackson, right? His on-stage persona and his off-stage persona, 2 different people. The shy man and the god, okay?
Right.
2 different people. Beyonce, same way. She's very quiet in real life, but she's Sasha Fierce on stage.
Right.
Very Virgo. And I think they're all like that. It's part of your nature. I mean, as I sit here and look at you, you look so sweet. Like you've never been to Sweden. You've never lived in Philly. You've never. But I think that's the beauty of Virgo, because you still keep that purity. It's a gift. It's a gift. Anyway, I don't know what made me think of that. I sit here and I look at your face, your countenance. is so pure and so sweet. And I love hearing these stories of people's background because you're like, yo, no, never, never. That's amazing.
Yeah, growing up, I used to get that a lot. My mom would just be like, you need to live with this child.
That's hilarious. I don't on my Instagram right now, I've got a meme that I created, and I know it's causing trouble, but on it, I said that I made this video, and it's hilarious because there's like a nurse that has like this sexy nurse outfit with the, it's hilarious. But anyway, I called them closet freaks. Virgos are closet.
Oh, I saw that and I was laughing. I was like, that's right.
They're closet freaks. Like, and I know it's true. All my Virgo friends I ever had, they always like, okay, look, don't tell my mom, but going forward, I'm spending the weekend. Don't tell. You got to cover for me, okay? Just let. And that's just, it's like that's the way they operate. But I love Virgos. My daughter, I love her, love her, love her, love her, and just some of the sweetest, kindest, purest hearted people of the zodiac. I believe that with all my heart. I really do. So, okay, let me ask you this. If there was anything that you would like to say to our audience that you didn't have a chance to say yet, because I can't believe we're almost an hour. This is ridiculous.
I know, that's
it's
crazy.
just going so fast. If there's anything you would like to say to our audience, they're all the woo-woo crowd. What would you like to say to them?
I would love to say that, always listen to your intuition, always listen to those whispers. They're telling you the same thing over and over. And if you even want to challenge it and be like, but what about this? And what about that? And what about the other thing? Listen to how many times the answer comes back exactly the same when you're listening to your heart. And if you feel connected to anybody in the spiritual realm, the woo-woo crowd, connect with them. Connect with them. There's a reason.
I believe that. I believe that. I actually believe that the people that come, like yourself, that come here as guests, that we're somehow drawn to each other so that we can share your message. And I just feel like that's my job, is to be like, Monty Hall, hello, and introducing, and here we go, right? That's what I do. But I feel like you guys all have this message, and I feel honored to be able to allow you to share that message today.
Thank you.
So just wanted to give your website again, and that was, making sure I got it all right here in front of me, Grounded Energy 111.com. That's Grounded Energy 111.com. That's Tara's website. Please go and support Tara and what she's doing. I think whatever she's doing is amazing. And don't forget to go and get Divinity Speaks, which is a book that she co-authored. It's women who tune in and trust divine inspiration. You can find that on Amazon, right, Tara?
Yes, Amazon.
Yeah, on Amazon. And also, I'm seeing here that she says if listeners purchase the book, Divinity Speaks, they're eligible for a discounted rate on her Soul Awakening program. It is an 8-week program that lays the foundations towards stepping into your awakened self, whether it's the first, second, or third awakening. I love that. And the program is done all online. You get lifetime access to the membership area for support material through the program. And there's group support, community, and live weekly group coaching. And the space is limited to 6 to ensure specialized attention. So make sure you guys get in there. You can reach out to her via email at Tara@GroundedEnergy111. That's Tara@GroundedEnergy111.com, and reference Astrology Love Podcast. Astrology Love Podcast, okay? All right, you guys. Tara, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. I feel so honored to have had you here. And as we traditionally do, we're going to put on the music and we're going to dance on out of here. So that's our next thing. Oh, and before you go, don't leave. I'm going to type in there my group, my Facebook group. I would love for you to join us there. Your energy is delicious. Okay. So let's put this music on and I'll type that out for you. Give me a second here. Okay, let me give you my email or my group here. Let me put that in.
Awesome. Thank you
My
so
love
much.
you.
I appreciated this so much. This was so fun. I love the conversation. I loved how comfortable it was, and I appreciate you and I appreciate what you're doing. I was immediately drawn to.
My
Um,
pleasure. You're amazing.
Thank you.
So
You're
funny how
channeling
we're
everything.
like on parallel universes, right? Hilarious. I love that. And anytime I'm talking to another Philly girl, yeah, you won a place in my heart. So yeah, I love you, Tara.
Thank you.
Oh, and I'm going to tell my group members too about your soul awakening program.
Awesome.
Yeah, make sure I spread the word.
Thank you. And anything I can do for you, just let me know.
Thank you. So, blessings.
You too. I'll see
I
you.
didn't realize they were still live. Okay, you guys, we're out of here. See you guys next week.